Episode 297. Mom's Paranoid. Sunshine! Henry's voice suddenly broke into Jake's ear. His half-closed eyes suddenly opened wide as he turned to look in that direction. Henry took the two boys, and Vanessa had his daughter. They were walking towards his wife. The outrageous parent-child outfits were an eyesore. He wanted to kill him. Those were his. Everything should belong to him. Who was Henry Miller to take his place in that outfit, accompanying his wife? Jake almost didn't manage to hold back his punch at the guy's face. Suddenly, Carlito's voice came from the sapphire stud on his ear. "What are you doing? Your photo was taken. Do you know it?" After hearing that, Jake calmed down immediately, pressed the sapphire earring on his ear, and whispered, "How do you know that it's me?" "The stud!" Carlito's voice sounded panicked. "And your wig, your sunglasses? I bought them all. Do you think I'm blind?" "The woman won't recognize it." "I hope so. Come back soon after you deal with the business." "Yeah," Jake answered, looking back in their direction. No one noticed Jake's presence. Henry went to Serena and whispered, "What?" "He abandoned me, Henry. He abandoned me and the children." Serena's voice was hardly coherent. "Just now, it was him. He saved us." Henry was dazed, and he knew very well whom she was talking about. But how was it possible? Jake died a long while ago. It had been 4 years. He stayed in the abandoned factory in the eastern suburbs forever and could never come back. How could it be him? Henry looked at Serena, but his expression was exceptionally calm. He held her shoulder and said, "The children are hungry. Let's go back, okay?" Serena shook her head and looked up at Henry, pleading with her eyes. "Henry, help me find him. He's right here. I'm sure he's here. Can you help me look for him?" There were tears in her eyes. She cried, "I can't find him. He's hiding from me." Henry pursed his lips and helped her stand up straight. "Let's go back home first and then we can talk." "Henry, enough, Sunshine." Henry's voice was a bit fierce. He looked at her with a bit of sharpness in his eyes. "He's dead. Already dead. You had an illusion. It was not him, just a kind stranger." "No, it was really him. His voice, I can recognize it anywhere. It is him. He's not dead." Serena was a little hysterical, reaching out and pushing him away. "It was not an illusion. I cannot be wrong about this." Serena's emotions frightened Julianne. She cried out loud with her arms around Vanessa's neck. The crying of the child made Serena sob even more. She took Julianne into her arms and shouted, "Jake, are you coming out to see your daughter? She's your child. Didn't you want a daughter the most? She's here, right here. This is also your son. Come see him growing up to be just like you. Everyone says..." Her voice was getting smaller and smaller. In the end, a whimper took over. "Everyone says he is your spitting image. But why don't you come and see him? Why are you being so cruel?" Each question stabbed right into Jake's heart. "Don't cry. Do not cry." He looked at that place with his eyes narrowed. Reaching out, he pretended that his hand touched her face and wiped her tears. The soft touch in the memory was so vivid. Each inch of her skin drew him in. "Sorry." Jake took a final look and then climbed over the high wall of the amusement park and jumped. He still had business to tend to. "Mom?" Julianne reached out and wiped the tears on her mother's face. Pouting, she said with tears on her face, "Mom, who are you talking to?" "With your father. The one who just got you down is your father." "It's not him," Jeremy said suddenly. "Mom, you had a dream. He's not my father." Serena turned her head, looking at Jeremy incredulously, and confirmed, "He is your father. That was your father." "No, Dad is dead. Everyone knows that my mother is paranoid. What you just saw is not real." Jeremy looked at Serena, unwavering. "Let's go home, Mom." "Even you don't believe me?" Looking at the eyes of Henry and Vanessa, she felt that she was a laughingstock. Holding Julianne in her arms, Serena was sobbing even more. She went into the shade, standing still. "He is somewhere here. There is no way out. I don't believe he can run away. I will be here waiting for him." Henry looked at her. It felt like his heart was occupied by demons. It was so irritating and uncomfortable. This was driving him mad. He wanted to wake her up and tell her that Jake was dead. In that kind of explosion, there was no chance of survival. Who could survive a big fire like that? Only Serena had looked for him everywhere in the past 4 years. Although there had been no news, she still had not given up. In the past few years, he had taken her to God knows how many psychiatrists, and he had been on her side through so many things. But she always believed that Jake was still alive and that he did not die. How was it possible? Everyone knew how Jake was to Serena. If he was still alive, why not come back? Henry felt he was going mad, but he took a deep breath and stood with the two boys. He said, "Then let's wait for a while. If he does not appear within 15 minutes, we will go back, okay?" Serena bit her lip and did not speak. The sun was getting harsher. Moving over and touching their feet, Serena fidgeted. More than 20 minutes passed, but the legendary Jake Robinson still did not appear. "Mom, I'm hungry," Julianne said, gazing at her with a pair of dark and clear eyes, like her father's. Jeremy pouted and said, "Mom, I'm also hungry." Seth's stomach was rumbling as well, but he did not speak. Henry stood by Serena and reached out to Julianne. "I'll take you." Julianne climbed into Henry's arms and asked, "Can we have pizza? I haven't eaten pizza in a long time." "Ask your mother," Henry said. The tears on Serena's face had already dried up. In disappointment, she said with her voice dry, "Let's go."